Hello, traders. Cousin Vinny coming to you from theclosingprint.com, Sunday, the 20th of July, 2025. In this edition of your weekend video newsletter, we'll discuss the indices at highs again, consolidating, with tech and the Qs leading, leaving us with 11 bullish indicators, 4 neutral and 5 bearish going into this week, where we'll most likely see more of the summertime trading that we're getting used to over the last couple of weeks. Overall, bulls should be fairly happy with this performance, as the S&P 500 deltas were quite negative and contained a fair amount of longer dated put buying, as you can see with the dark blue line, 5.47 billion, which could help to push the markets higher as those puts monetize on any moves to the upside. Tesla showed some overwhelming bullish options activity with a noteworthy $969 million worth of delta, dwarfing other names and confirming substantial directional positioning, followed by significant positive delta accumulation in Amazon at $149 million and Coinbase at $195 million, with Coinbase feeling a bit overbought after the Genius Act was signed by the president. That said, the New York FANG components are consolidating over the last 3 weeks. Instead of pulling back to the 21-day or the 50-day, we've consolidated in a 3 weeks tight pattern, which generally leads to higher prices. We'll look for that this week, as tech tends to outperform during the month of July. Breadth, while pulling back on Friday, was still very positive over the last few weeks, staying above the zero line with the new highs, new lows, showing a bullish bias with advanced decline, near highs, and the index of 2,000 stocks on the composite remaining near the recent all-time highs. VIX is also giving us a bullish signal, though there's always a possibility we could get a catalyst out of nowhere and this shoot back up to 20 or 25. So in addition, at these levels, puts are fairly inexpensive, as we saw with all the puts that were added in longer dated options on Friday. Of course, this is signaling potentially hedging going into the month of August, one of the weaker months of the year. Junk bonds also back above the 9, 21, and 50-day moving averages. Neutral to bullish with RSI rising. We're looking for continuation. That said, we did have some weakness in biotechs, IBB, and IWM is flagging for the time being, with Bitcoin at highs. We need these three to be moving higher. The 10-year yield also remains in a sideways range-bound pattern. I will say, hanging out at the 50-day, it's not overbought, it's not oversold, so it's trading at fair value, remaining in a range for the most part that started back in 2023 and continues to this day. Now, if the Fed does lower rates at the end of the month, we'll reassess the markets after we see what the 10-year does along with the 30-year in the short term. The 30-year, of course, closed right at 5% on Friday. So we'd like to see both of these move a bit lower into the second half. The Japanese yen, Australian dollar carry trade continues to fade, so this is a bullish signal for the markets. While the US dollar did manage a rally over the last 3 weeks, we're looking for the dollar to remain below 100, but perhaps get back to that area in the short term. With a lower dollar, it does help U.S. companies that trade products overseas, while commodities like natural gas grind higher, with the yellow metal consolidating for the past 3 months, with silver consolidating for the last week and a half. In addition, Brent crude remains in a range-bound descending channel for the most part. Overall, bonds, currencies, and commodities are neutral to bullish for equities in the short term. Sectors are mixed with biotechs, real estate, transports, oil and gas, equipment services, energy, consumer staples, and healthcare weak or fading, with strength in semiconductors, software, hardware, cloud, materials, financials, industrials, technology, utilities, consumer discretionary, and retail, with the XLY-XLP ratio bullish and turning upward, completely the opposite of what we saw back in February when the president first announced tariffs going into effect, when rolled over in February, and certainly completely different than what we saw back in 2022 during the start of the bear market that lasted for the entire year. Bullish and following through, sectors look good. Small cap sectors were fairly muted as well, with healthcare lagging the most, industrials, materials, technology, and small cap financials doing fairly well, but at the 21-day pulling back during the week. Overall, sectors look like they are taking a break, consolidating with tech leading, looking for signals to start Monday trading. This week, we have a fair number of stocks on the IBD 50 that look strong that could follow through in the list below, along with stocks from the Bollinger Band Squeeze scan, as well as stocks in the cyan color stock chart's technical rank of greater than 95 to 98%. Look for these stocks to follow through this week. Again, we have 11 bullish indicators, 4 neutral and 5 bearish as we head into the second half of July. That said, many of these stocks are trending, like Allegheny Technologies, AMSC Semiconductor, Amphenol, ACMR, Affirm holding the 21-day, Arista Networks trending, pulling away from the 20-day moving average, the 20 and the 50-day moving up and to the right. A-Lab is back, following through. CCJ, Kamiko, many of you talking about that stock last week. Celestica back to the 21-day moving average. We had Cloudflare breaking to the upside, about to take out all-time highs. Coinbase, of course, with the Genius Act being signed by POTUS. Feels a bit overbought, so we wouldn't be surprised to see Coinbase come back in a little bit, maybe to the 400 put wall. Looking for another trade on the Bitcoin-related names this week. CrowdStrike bouncing at the 50-day. Dave back above the 50-day. That looks like it could follow through. DoorDash back to the 21-day. Looks like that is going to pop and move back to the upside. Squeezing. Bollinger Bands, RSI turning back up. Futu on the watch list last week. Gapped up on Friday, faded, so we'll watch for a consolidation there. Life 360 breaking out further. Recent watch list. Palantir looking for a follow through. Oster breaking higher, starting off the week on Monday with a push off the 21-day, followed by Tuesday's strength. Look for Oster to continue. Quanta Power following through. Palantir looking for a continuation. Roblox, Robinhood, Rhythm Pharmaceuticals, Rambus, these are all very strong. Rocket Labs showing strength last week as well. Many of these are a bit extended, so I wouldn't be surprised to see some consolidation this week as we look for a follow-through and earnings to start off the week. AEVA Technologies continues to push higher. Looks like this is going to threaten all-time highs once again this week. RSI rising, MACD and stochastics turning. Very nice setup. Volume starting to pick up, showing institutions are accumulating shares. We could see a breakout in AEVA this week. ASTS also on the stock chart's technical rank, 98+%. Bollinger Band scan as well. For the past week and a half, breaking higher. Volume shows institutions, MACD and stochastics set up and rising along with muscle on RSI. Look for ASTS to either flag or continue higher this week. LPLA Financial Holdings, looking for a breakout of this flat base. Bollinger Band starting to expand, RSI rising. As financials continue to outperform, with the big banks looking very strong, we'd like to see JP Morgan continue. Post earnings continues to see Bollinger Band squeeze. We're looking for a breakout in JP Morgan in the short term. MP Materials in the news last week with the federal government gapping up for the past 2 weeks, showing remarkable strength and tremendous volume, indicating institutions are falling all over themselves buying shares. Buy high, sell higher, RSI rising and showing muscle. This is showing persistent strength of the bullish trend. QBTS, many of the quantum stocks also looking strong, coming out of a base. Bollinger Bands expanding, RSI rising. Like to see more volume like we had with the previous mentioned stocks. Overall, we're seeing more of a bid in these stocks in the short term. Here's IONQ, occasionally on the IBD 50. Looking for a breakout above 49, and then a follow-through and a trend to develop into the second half. The nukes were also strong last week. SMR, we have a swing on this one. Looking for a continuation along with Oklo breaking higher on Friday. Nanonuclear, Bollinger Band still squeezing, and Lightbridge Technologies looking for continuation in these 4 nuke-related names, as well as others in the industry in the short term. Okay, traders, that's going to do it for me. This is Cousin Vinny coming to you from theclosingprint.com, Sunday, the 20th of July, 2025. I'll send out a watch list later tonight around 12 midnight on the East Coast, around 9 p.m. on the West Coast, so be sure to check your inbox for that. Otherwise, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Make sure you check out some of the names below from the IBD 50, Bollinger Band Squeeze, and Scooter Scored. Stocks with potential to start the week. Have a great evening, take care, and we'll see you in the morning. Ciao.